Hi all again, it's AC Dodd. Welcome to part 3 of the 1275 head rebuild and modification series that I'm doing. Just a quick warning on this one. This involves using grinding equipment, so as ever, please make sure that you have the necessary training and skills to be able to use a grinder and to mount and dress grinding wheels because they are dangerous if not done correctly. With that said, let's crack on. The valve guides we're going to use in this cylinder are nothing special. They are just the normal iron guides that you get, standard type replacement. There's a nice close-up of one, so nothing special. What I'm showing here is 2 of the valve guides with the valve stem seals fitted. For road engines, I only ever recommend using the MPI, the latest MPI type, made out of the correct material. These don't go hard in service and stay pliable when they're on the valves. But what I'm really bringing your attention to here is 2 guides, both fitted with the stem seals. And you can see, if you look at the shape there, you'll see this one is kind of splayed out at the bottom, and this one is nice and tight to the guide. Well, the difference here is on some valve guides, the stem seal groove is too far down the guide. So in effect, when you push the stem seal on, it doesn't fit all the way into the groove and it leaves this characteristic bell shape. And if you look closely, I'll zoom in there, you may also just be able to see that the groove is showing because the stem seal is being prevented from going all the way in because it's bottomed out on the outer edge here before it can get into the seal groove. The way around that, on the left here is the other guide, and what I've done here is I've performed an operation called guide topping, where we just machine a small amount of material from the end of the guide, and this allows the seal to go on further and seat properly. So when they're seated properly, they look like that. When they're not seated properly, they look like that. The reason why I do this is so that the guides do not fall off in service. The guide seals, sorry, do not fall off in service. The reason why I do this operation is so that the guide seals do not fall off in service. Back on the press and the new guides get to go in. Just in case you're wondering about the tools I'm using to push valve guides in and out, this was a custom set of tools I made many years ago now. So they're my design, in as much as I designed this to do the job on an A series cylinder head. So I've got a silver steel hardened and tempered driving pin for pushing them out. I have another silver steel driving pin for putting them in, but this is used in conjunction with a load spreader, a spacer and some spacing washers. And what that basically means is you push these in down to a stop, which is here, and then the exact depth is set by using various thicknesses of washers. So you've got thin and you've got thick, and what that basically means is you can vary the particular stack of washers to get you the particular height that you need. Within this set, I've machined that spacer so that it will give me the 2 factory installed heights, which is 540 or I think it's 596 or something like that now, for the cylinder heads that I typically come across with the A series. It also allows me to give a little bit of tweaking to the guide height when I need a little bit more room for valve spring shims and things like that. The tool is used like so, and you can see the valve guide is loaded onto the end of the insertion tool, and then the spacers are put on, and then that is then positioned into the cylinder head, and then the press is used to push that down, and the spacer ensures that they're all the same height from the valve spring pocket. Now, because we've spent time on this one and machined all those pockets height right, when we push the valve guides in using this method, all the tops of the valve guides will be at the same height. So we start to see the benefits, the fruits of our labour then, to make our lives easier. by machining all the valves spring seats at the right height. We then reference off of that using this tool, and then all the valve guides will be the right height. All right, we're up on the grinding bench now, so we're going to put the grinder in the chambers, and we're going to smooth out all this casting and reshape around the valves. This does a couple of things, but it's mainly to improve airflow, and obviously get rid of any of the sharp edges and any potential stress raisers and any impedance to flow around the valves. And to do this, I've got some dummy valves which I've put into the chamber. As you can see, these have been machined flat, so they sit flush with the bottom of the chamber. First operation is to grind the chamber floor flat all around the valves, and then on all 4 chambers, and then I'll go back and then reshape the chambers. In order to do this, I use my trusty Bosch GG27L. I've had this a long time now. This is about I think it's about nearly 30 years old, in fact. I think it's about 27 years old, so I've only rebuilt it once, believe it or not, with new bearings and brushes, and she's still going strong. The way I operate this is I have a foot pedal under my bench, so I don't use the switch, and the idea there is I've got two methods of safety, so if I get caught up, and I can switch it off here, but it's just easier to come on and off the pedal for me when I'm actually doing this work. I find this much easier to work with. The grinder itself is only a single speed, but I'm doing a grinding operation, so it needs to be used flat out anyway. And if you're doing any of this work at home, you need PPE, so you need at least a decent mask, and you also need ear protection, and as I'm already becoming famous now, I wear eye protection, so you need all that lot on for grinding. In addition, I have a vacuum which I can then suck up the mess to keep my work area clear. Okay, so what we're quickly achieving here is just grinding that bottom of the chamber flat to get rid of all those ridges and the excess floor. As you can see, we're all the way around the valves. It's all rough at this point because this is only about getting the meat out, so I'm now going to get on and do the rest of the other 3 chambers. Okay, I've moved on a bit now, so I've ground all the chamber floors all to the same depth, and now I'm going to go back and grind the outside of the chamber shape to blend into the gasket line and open up the space around the valves. Just in case you're wondering, your stone on the end of your die grinder, when you're grinding cast iron, does get clogged. So you need to keep it dressed to keep that free cutting. So when you find that your wheel goes blunt and it's not cutting as much as usual, you need to dress that stone. So what we've got now, okay, so we've opened our chambers up all the way around the valves. Is it perfect in shape? No, of course it's not. It's all done by hand. Is it functional? Absolutely. That will flow a lot more air than what it did before we did that. So getting to that stage is plenty good enough before we go to polishing. I hope you found that useful. That's the end of part 3. Watch out for part 4, and as ever, please like and subscribe if you want to see more.